Hello, and thanks for joining us on Movie Night Memories. You must remember this. A podcast that focuses on movies and our favorite memories of them. Each week we discuss the films that are celebrating an anniversary from when they came out in theaters. My name is Sword Alexander, and I'm joined by the inspiration of this podcast, my mom, Tracey.
Happy holidays, everybody. It's the holiday season.
It sure is. We're already feeling the cold, and then we're feeling the 78 degrees, so it definitely is Florida during the holidays.
Yes, it is.
This week we're talking about movies released between November 16th and 22nd. We're going to be talking about Home Alone, Home Alone 2, Goldeneye, Casino, and Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I do want to briefly mention two films that we're not going to really talk about that much at all, but are celebrating a pivotal anniversary date this year. We have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This was released on November 19th, 1975. That's a 50-year anniversary. I'm a huge fan of the film. I haven't seen it in years, but I will never forget the first time I saw it. And if it is an anniversary, it's a pretty pivotal one. So if you're a fan of the film, I recommend checking it out. Checking out again at least this week for a 50-year retrospective. And this week, this year as well, is also celebrating the anniversary of Toy Story. It's the 30th anniversary of Toy Story. Came out November 22nd, 1995. So if you're a fan of Toy Story, which like 99% of the people are in America, I definitely recommend rechecking out the film. I don't know how well it's aged. I haven't seen it in over a decade. When was the last time you remember seeing Toy Story?
I think we watched it during COVID.
You think we did?
I think we did.
Well, your memory's better than mine.
I think we did.
But it's 30 years anniversary. So if you're a fan of Toy Story, this week is a good time to check it out.
I think everybody owns a Buzz Lightyear toy.
Yeah, they were huge when it first came out. I mean, I'm obviously, did you show me the movie? Like when I was like a year old when the movie came out?
I think you were older. You were older when we finally watched it together.
Yeah.
We had the VHS.
Mm-hmm. We did. Now, I remember, I still have the Buzz Lightyear, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was one of the things that I would never want to get rid of. Yeah. Even just because. I mean, it's a Buzz Lightyear and it's still in great shape. Mm-hmm. I took good care of that thing. I didn't want to play with it that much because I knew it was in such good condition.
No, you loved that. But I think you were older. But you maybe watched it when you were younger, but I think you were at least 3 years old when you watched Toy Story.
Well, I'd love to talk about it more for a rewatch come next year, but I want to point out this year because it's a pretty special anniversary. But first, we're going to talk about Home Alone. This is the original Home Alone. This was your first time watching this movie, right?
From start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen excerpts. I've always seen, many scenes from the movie, but never from start to finish.
So this is celebrating the 35th anniversary. It's been 35 years since this movie came out. It was released November 16th, 1990. Mm-hmm. It was directed by Chris Columbus, who also eventually directed the first Harry Potter film, actually the first two. And he was also written by John Hughes, which we all know who John Hughes is. The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles. I mean,
many others.
Many other fantastic films that he's written and produced as well. But Home Alone was like the big hit. And he was making hits before Home Alone. But
absolutely.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because you went through this history, I didn't. But I would think that Home Alone is the first John Hughes Christmas classic. Because when people think about John Hughes, they think about Home Alone. Like, that is the Christmas movie. That is the quintessential John Hughes movie, that and The Breakfast Club. But this was the first Christmas film that he produced, which he's produced several after this. But this was the Christmas movie of his.
I guess they think that I was never a big fan of it.
You were just like with The Matrix, where it was everywhere. But
that's not because, don't compare it to The Matrix. That's not. But I was never a big fan of this film because of the over the top slapstick violence. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the scenes and some of the things that I saw over and over that I just thought it was just too much. Things didn't add up to me. How things happened every time I saw it, it got on my nerves.
So that was then. This is now.
It still gets on my nerves.
It still gets on your nerves, but now you got on your nerves from beginning to end.
Yes.
Well,
there were some things that are cute and
there's some sweet moments in this movie.
Yes.
Some classic John Hughes moments.
Yes, but there's still some things that just get on my nerves.
This was my first time watching this movie from start to finish, and a good few years. I really can't recall exactly the last time I saw it from start to finish. My recollection vaguely reminds me of when I saw it. I think I saw it like during ABC Family, when it was just on TV in the background, and I watched the whole movie through and through. And
I guess that's how I saw it too. Like I would see it in the background of people watching it. Some of the things I liked was that he faced his fears.
Mm-hmm. And he grew up. You could see him really mature from the 8-year-old boy who didn't want to do anything and was, letting other people do things for him, to growing up to becoming the mastermind of putting up all these traps all over the house.
I liked it when he faced his fears with the old man, the neighbor, and in the church and things like that. That's when I liked when he faced his fears. I didn't like how they handled him being home alone and all, and
it's not really that well. I'm going to say this. This is one of John Hughes' weakest films, in my opinion.
For writing wise.
Yes, it's one of his weakest. Now, I still think there's an important spot for it when it comes to some moments in the film that really stand out and make it a Christmas classic. But I was really disappointed with it. Really taking a good, hard look at the film itself. I was very disappointed all the way around. And there were a couple moments that I really appreciate in it. But man, I was just thinking, I cannot wait for this to be over.
I think that this film was trying to compete with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I don't disagree with you. I really don't. At the same time, though, it's a different movie, but you have the same idea with the same feeling of things. And also, Christmas Vacation, it wasn't exactly written by John Hughes, but it was produced by him.
It was?
I'm pretty sure it was. Hold on. This threw me for a curveball, otherwise I would have written this down. National Lampoon's.
I didn't know that he had anything to do with that.
Christmas Vacation. I'm pretty sure John Hughes had dipped his toe in Christmas Vacation. Yep, it was written by John Hughes. I was standing corrected.
I had no...
But, this is National Lampoon. There's no way he wrote this...
What year did that come out?
89.
He's still trying to make money. He was still trying to make money off of people in Christmas. Oh, my gosh. I had no idea.
I do believe that...
He was... Oh, my God.
Well, I do believe that the film itself, Christmas Vacation, was not written solely by John Hughes. It's a collaborative effort there. I just think they credited him as the writer for the film.
I'm telling you right now, that man is trying to make money off of Christmas. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on here.
He no longer makes money off of Christmas. But yes, you're right. He capitalized on the holidays because it made money. Before this, it was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
When I say making... Please, I know he's passed away. But please, he was making money off of the holidays. That's exactly what he's doing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This is not surprising to me, considering that, it really was the case with after Christmas Vacation, his career was slowly reducing in quality. And when I say this, I mean this with the most respect of one writer to another. His films were not doing as well writing-wise as I wanted them to be. Sure, did Home Alone make a lot of money? It sure did. It made tons of money. And its sequel also made tons of money. But the quality of his writing just went downhill. And that's just the brass tacks of it all.
The Home Alone was just like 16 Candles, but with this younger child.
Mm-hmm. The whole family forgetting a pivotal event in a child's life. In this case, it was being left home alone.
He even similarly looks like Molly Ringwald, but as a younger child.
I could see that a little bit.
A lot.
I could see it a little bit.
Oh my God.
I don't disagree with you there either. But overall, though, I think the movie's all right. So how did you feel about, taking away the slapstick, how did you feel about the two villains, Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci played?
Whatever. I don't like the whole concept. I think it doesn't make sense. So I don't even want to go into it. It's just so aggravating to me.
Yeah. They did try explaining some things, and there's things they just didn't explain right. I just, it's one of those things where the more you talk about it, the more people will say, look, it's just a movie, who cares? I'm like, okay, but
they They make it like it was Chicago. They were in almost a mansion. There would be things to prevent them from getting into the... It was insulting, the way that this film was making things happen. It was insulting to your intelligence.
The best part of the film is Macaulay Culkin and how he grows up and progresses as a kid. And you see him reacting to being home alone, him shopping and stuff. All this stuff's great. Anything with like that he does throughout the story, it's fun. It's a good time. You can relate to it. He does stupid things, but he's a kid. Kids do stupid things all the time. But then he really matures, and he, like you said, he gets and makes amends with that older man neighbor character too.
But the neighbor also talks to him, and they both bonded. There were some good, nice moments, but that can't make up for the whole film.
Now, back then when it came out, how big was Home Alone?
Big, huge.
So was it marketed a lot beforehand?
Yes. And pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed.
But your family didn't want to say, let's go see Home Alone.
No.
Okay. They were just like, oh, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it was not... Yeah, it was not like... Yeah.
Was there like a lot of merchandise that came out afterwards?
I don't remember the merchandise. I just remember that the movie was pushed and pushed and pushed. And people were doing impressions of the and kids were doing and it was getting on your nerves
because you hear just kids screaming all the time.
Yeah, and doing that and it was just pushed to the max all the time.
Okay, it's so funny because it's such a pivotal Christmas film that you see everywhere when it comes to commercials. Hell, they even just redid a Home Alone kind of sequel-y in the way of a commercial for Home Instead, a home healthcare group, where it shows Macaulay Culkin coming back as Kevin McAllister. And they show the little girl that the old man was talking about. She grows up too, and she's the granddaughter. And they're talking about how his mom, Catherine O'Hara's character, is going downhill, and he's trying to look after her. And that goes into the home care kind of environment. Isn't that something? I feel like they're touching a little bit too much of a pain point of realism there. And Catherine O'Hara is in great shape. She's not in the commercial, but I'm thinking, oof, this is kind of sad now. It shows how old we're all getting. I don't know what to say about this. But the movie itself is okay. I would give it probably like a 2.5. It had some good ideas. Some of the ideas fell through and fell flat. But, I do genuinely see why John Hughes wanted to make this, and besides money, of course. And I see some really good moments that shine in it that would make me... I could see it once or twice more, Honestly, I would.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. The look on your face is so how? How could you? How dare you?
Well, it's just... we just went through 2 of them.
Yeah, we did. What would you give that out of 5 stars?
A 2.
So you're only half a point off of me, and you're looking at me like I just committed a murder.
Well, I'm just... It's just we went through 2 of them.
Yeah, we did. We didn't watch them.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't really watch the second one that much.
I did.
No, you didn't. We skipped a lot.
Okay, we only skipped... Okay, let's get into that, too. But we also watched Home Alone 2, which came out November 20th, 1992. It's celebrating a 33-year anniversary. Came out not long after. Were talks of a sequel...
Oh, you didn't say how much these movies made.
Thank you. So, Home Alone made... at first, it had a budget of $18 million. So it was pretty good. Pretty good budget back then. It made $467 million. It made $467 million. That's off the box office alone. That's not taking into account merchandising, VHS rentals, the whole 9 yards.
This young man, this Macaulay Culkin, they made this film because of, I think, Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck was so successful. They saw that his face could launch millions of dollars.
I am not surprised at all. I mean, that scene with Uncle Buck with him and John Candy, where are you from? What do you do? Where do you live?
When they saw that he was So
he's no nonsense. He acts like an adult, and that's what makes it funny.
When they saw that he was so popular with just that little bit of time, and he was hardly in that movie.
He's like Dennis the Menace, but he's not annoying. He's very much like somebody you could actually talk to from an adult to a kid perspective without talking down to him and stuff.
They saw that he was a moneymaker.
Yes.
They thought, we could. They knew. So look at what he made for them, and they thought, we'll have him outsmart some criminals. Mm-hmm. We'll have it against criminals, And
making a coming of age story, and yeah.
Not coming of age, but outsmart criminals, and he'll outsmart criminals. So, and it got on my nerves.
And then the sequel came out.
I like the sequel better because it shows New York, but I love New York.
But I wanted to ask you, when the sequel was there, how quickly was the sequel talked about after the first one came out? Was it like immediately after the first movie came out?
I didn't notice because I didn't care. I could give two, you know what, in the wind. I could care less.
So when it came out, it was like, they made another one?
Here's another one. Here's another one.
Was it pushed as much as the first one?
Yes, but I didn't care. I could care less. Mm-hmm. Another one. And he looked the same. Did you notice he didn't grow much?
Yeah, not
They
much.
probably filmed it at the same time.
Yeah.
Who knows? He didn't look like he grew very much at all. And then in the film, they said it was the next year.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they said it was the next year, even though the film came out 2 years later.
So they probably filmed it right back to back.
They probably had to because the first one was so successful. They had to quickly make it happen, and they did. So in the next one, I like, and I will say this straight up, I liked Home Alone 2 better than Home Alone 1. And I'm sure that's a very controversial opinion, but I genuinely had a better time watching the second movie than I did the first one. And I don't remember liking the second one more than the first one back when I first saw the second one, if that makes sense. So this is your first time watching the second one as well.
Yes. And I just liked seeing New York. And, I said I was hoping, and before, remember I said I was hoping to see the Twin Towers, and as soon as I said it, there they showed them.
Yep, and it was a
very
big, beautiful shot of the Twin Towers, too.
Up close. And I was like,
It was incredible. It's an incredible shot. It's one of the best shots of the Twin Towers I've seen in a movie in a long time.
And I saw that shot. We walked right up like that to the Twin Towers, and I was like,
And I like the story of this better. Instead of, it takes place after the first movie, obviously, you're after the first movie. And while they're trying to go to the airport, he accidentally gets lost in the airport, and he ends up trying to chase a man who looks like his dad from the back. And he chases him into another airplane, and things happen.
Another gate.
Yeah, another gate. And things happen, things get caught up, and he gets kind of thrown into the plane.
He doesn't get thrown into the plane.
Well, he throws himself into it because he thinks his dad's on there, there's an accident, everything, and he ends up getting...
It shows neglect.
Yeah, because his family, once they did make sure to get him into the van, the transport van from the house.
But it shows neglect.
But then they left him in the airport.
No family would do this.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
No family would just haphazardly run through O'Hare Airport during the holidays and not make sure that you have all of your children go into the gate and leave your children haphazardly at O'Hare Airport.
No, and after what his mother went through, she had an existential crisis. She had panic attacks, nervous. She fainted in the first movie. She was freaking out. And in this movie, there's no way she would ever let him leave her sight.
Or any child.
But I would say specifically, and because of what happened last time, you are not leaving my sight.
And that was another thing. In the beginning, they had another ordeal about him not... being polite to the other children, and there was another ordeal that transpired.
Yeah, that led to it because in the first movie, which we didn't really talk about, he had a couple accidents that and everybody made it look like it was his fault, and it wasn't exactly his fault. But family's family.
But they had an ordeal. And then he said, "Don't you remember last time what happened?" And so they had another little pivotal moment, and she says, "Remember last year what happened?" And this wouldn't happen. They'd say, "We're not going there." You and I have had these discussions of we're not going there. We're not going to do that. Mm-hmm. Remember, we're going to be positive. We're going to be positive about this. Because we've gone through things before, and we're going to say, we're going to be positive. We're not going to have that happen again. It's just part of life, and we move on. But, and we say history repeats itself. We have those little sayings,
Yep, and it did. I mean, it's normal for families to have the same situations happen over and over again.
But this kind of traumatic situation, you make sure it doesn't happen. You learn from your mistakes.
Yes, and then it happened again. Because this family needs to have CPS called on them. This is the second time this has happened. The first time was a fluke. It should never have happened in the first place. But I would even say in the very... As a basic line of, okay, it's a fluke. It happens. It can happen. This time, there's no excuses. She needs CPS called on her. This whole family
Not
needs
just
to
her.
be...
Father, too.
Yes, and the whole family needs to be investigated because they're having too many kids and they're losing them. They don't care about their kids. They really don't care about their kids at the end of the day.
I wouldn't say that. But the movie was... It's not realistic. That's why I said from the very beginning that both these movies... is outrageous.
Yes. But I found myself more enjoying the scenarios and the writing of this movie a lot more. It feels like John Hughes really did understand and hone in on what makes this movie, what can make this kind of like movie work, what kind of makes the story work. You could tell he worked better with Macaulay Culkin and his writing and his attitude. I really liked the interactions that he had with other adults. You could tell he really took advantage of the maturity that Macaulay has. I liked the moments of learning lessons with people that he meets on the streets. Tim Curry, who plays concierge at the hotel that he's staying at, the Plaza Hotel, I thought he was very good in it, and it was very...
I wish he was more in it.
Yeah, I wish he was more in it too, but the moments where he's in it are so funny because he did such a good job playing this snooty, uppity, butler kind of inspired role.
Concierge.
Yes, and he talks about it in his book, how seriously he wanted to take that movie and take the role because he really took that role with pride. Because he really wanted to make sure his part was important. And it was great. It was great seeing that come to life. And it just overall, the movie really stuck itself and did a better job of showing us how he could survive in New York in a semi-realistic way. It really fit all together back then. And I really enjoyed it a lot more. I enjoyed it a lot more.
I'm glad you did. I like the scenes. I like the scenery of New York. Mm-hmm. It reminded me when I was in New York in 1990. I was there. So they probably made those scenes in 1990 or 91. Because it did look very much like the same when I was there in 1990.
Mm-hmm. I think that probably the biggest negative I have about the movie is when the two guys, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, the wet bandits as they call themselves, when they find him and kidnap him, and they're holding him up by his shirts and his sweaters, his layers of clothes. And this is in the middle of a New York street. And look, it's clear that he's being kidnapped.
Yes.
They're holding him up in a way that's not comfortable. That's he looks like a scared little kid. And he's in the middle of all this foot traffic. And the first thing you think of is, why didn't you just scream, help, these guys are touching me.
Or kidnapping me, hurting me.
Yes. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's New York City. People will jump in and say whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, yes.
Especially because there's two grown men. What two grown men are holding a kid up like that? And they look like suspicious characters. They don't look like model citizens. They look like creeps. That's just the point.
Unless he was just in shock.
Yes.
Because he was scared to death. And another thing that bothered me, he had his name, his first initial and last name on his backpack. It has been taught since that kid was killed and kidnapped and grabbed in Miami since the 70s, I think it was. 70s or early 80s. Not to put the child's name on anything. So why would they have his name engraved on his backpack?
The prop master wasn't very smart. It must have been the props master.
Because the criminal said,
Hey, I know that. There's that kid. Kevin McAllister. I know that kid. Hey.
Now, I admit, I put your initials on certain things. Initials, not your full name. Initials, but not your full name. Especially Sword, because your name was unique. But I put your initials on things.
But I just thought that was silly. Like, the whole movie would have been over in 2 seconds. All he has to say is, help, these strangers are touching me inappropriately. And grabbing me and touching me. And the whole movie would be over.
And we could go on and on about how the movie was just insane.
Yeah, but I had a good time watching it. And I still cannot believe, like, it's a funnier movie. It's just plain old, it's funnier and the story's better. It is. And at the end of the day... But
there was also a really good conscience about the hospital. He met the toy store owner, and he wanted to do good for the hospital, and he gave money. There was some and then the bird lady. We never found out the bird lady's name, which that really bothered me. Yeah. But at least we found out the bird lady. Yeah. You know, like in Mary Poppins.
It was a feed the birds kind of situation too, but it did gangbusters just like the first one. It had an $18 million budget and it made $359 million. So did it also explode afterward too? Or you really just didn't hear it at all?
I don't remember.
You completely forgot about it.
No, I don't.
You forgot about Kevin.
But no, really, it did not. I think I remember them having a sequel, but I don't remember about. I didn't care because it's such a slapstick kind of.
Yeah.
And you saw his face though everywhere. You saw his face everywhere. Mm-hmm. I remember that. You saw his face everywhere. And I thought, oh, this just came out. Now they have another one. They're just trying to make money.
Yep. But I liked it. I thought it was a very good time, all things considered. I could consider this a good Christmas classic as well as it is. I give it 3.5 stars. I think it's one notch better than the first one.
I'd give it 3.
There we go. Just got half a star off, just like that.
because of all the scenery of New York. I think it was beautifully done with the scenery of New York.
They did rehash a lot of the same jokes and same storylines of the first movie.
Exactly.
But I didn't, I said the same thing about Die Hard 2. This is the same movie, and I cannot stand Die Hard 2. But because it was essentially the same movie. With this, it's the same plot, like the same storyline, some of the same jokes. And that's something that I usually will deride a film on. But there's other jokes that are way better. And I found myself enjoying it better overall.
But we skipped a lot.
We just skipped the slapstick stuff. I didn't give a crap about the slapstick stuff. And you didn't either. Especially because the parts we started to watch were so violent. These people, the Joe Pesci, Dale Stern, the Wet Bandits, these people would be dead. In the first movie, they'd be paralyzed. In this movie, they'd be dead.
The tall criminal had 4 bricks hit in his head.
Yes,
4 bricks
from a 10-story building. It was like a big apartment complex.
Yeah. 4 bricks thrown at his head.
Yes,
and he just said, "I can see but 8 fingers." Versus 2 fingers.
No, you'd be dead.
It was ridiculous. And I was like, and you said, "Do you want to skip this?" Yes, I do.
Because nothing happens. It's just slapstick. Violent humor.
Okay, let's
moving on. We're going to move on to Goldeneye, which is another slapstick movie.
I know it's.
If you think about it, it's kind of slapsticky. So this was released November 17th, 1995. It's celebrating a 30th anniversary. It was directed by Martin Campbell, who later did The Mask of Zorro, starring Antonio Banderas, Anthony Hopkins, and Catherine Zeta-Jones. It was written by Jeffrey Kane and Bruce Firestein, but the story was written by Michael France. Long story short, Michael France wrote the original script for this film. It was rewritten a couple of times. And there were some things that the plot essentially became the same. But I mention him because as I'm doing the research for the movie, I find out Michael France, in the early 1980s, he was a projectionist in Gainesville, Florida, at a small local theater. And around that same time, you were in Gainesville, at a small local theater, watching movies on a regular basis. So you had a misconnection with somebody who ended up creating one of the pivotal James Bond movies of this day and age.
Which small?
They don't talk about it. Wikipedia doesn't have anything about it. There's no references for it. But I'm guessing it must be Gator Cinemas. What other small cinema was there in the early 80s in Gainesville?
Well, it could have been the Hippodrome. It could have been there was a small local theater at Butler Plaza. We used to have a small theater there that would actually that served food.
But I thought that this was really interesting because you were around and you were watching movies around that time. It's the early 1980s, they say. And he was a projectionist at this local theater, and he went to University of Florida. He was studying.
It could have been the Butler Plaza one.
So, small world. This guy wrote Goldeneye.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
So anyway, Goldeneye, it's a James Bond movie. James Bond movies are politically complicated. But with the fall of the Soviet Union, this is right after the Soviet Union was broken apart, a politically motivated group steals an experimental nuclear weapon to threaten world peace, prompting MI6's 007 to investigate and dismantle the device. This film marks the first of many, with Pierce Brosnan portraying the iconic James Bond.
And this was after Mr. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Not Mr.
You're
Mrs.
still right.
Doubtfire.
You're still right.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
So this movie was the first one after a 6-year hiatus of lawsuits and all kinds of ridiculousness with MGM, the owners of the original materials for Ian Fleming's James Bond. After all this hullabaloo, they came out with Goldeneye. They wanted to give it the time, and plus they had a recast. They had a recast for Pierce Brosnan, and Pierce Brosnan instead. Because I guess the other actor, the previous one, was having some legal issues with the movie studio too. It was complicated.
I think Roger Moore was the previous one, right?
I don't think so, but
No?
I didn't get into it. It was very complicated,
Okay.
and I didn't have the time to look into all of it.
Okay.
But this was his first role as James Bond, and this was obviously a big hit. This really did change and modernize the way that James Bond movies were told. After this brought James Bond back into the spotlight. This was a very hyped up movie, according to the research that I did on this movie. So it was very successful. Had Sean Bean playing a character in the film, which I didn't expect to see Sean Bean, which was great. Also, Isabella Scorupco. She played the love interest later on down the line in the film. Alan Cumming is in it.
Yes.
He has a small and...
No, it's not that small.
It's smallish.
It was pretty significant. It was pretty significant.
It's a side role for sure. And then Famke Janssen, sorry I screwed up the name. She played the femme fatale, dangerous villain character.
She was really good in it.
Yeah.
She was really good. She was really mean.
Yep.
She was really mean.
You could tell they really did a good job of trying to hype up her character and what she was doing to get the right sex appeal for the film itself.
Oh, she was really mean.
And had a $60 million budget, made $356 million in the box office, and it exploded. But tell me about your experience. Do you remember this movie coming out at all?
I remember it coming out. I thought I went to saw it, but after we were watching it, I was like, I don't remember this movie. So I think that I meant to go see it and never got a chance to go see it. I had just had you the year before, and I wanted to go see it. It had a huge amount of marketing and promotion. And I wanted to go see it because I love Pierce Brosnan. Mm-hmm. I thought he was really, really cool actor, and I really thought he was going to be a great James Bond. I remember thinking that.
This movie...
And I wanted to go see it. So I thought I'd seen it, and then when we're watching, I'm like, I remember this, I don't remember that, I don't remember this, I don't remember that.
So it ended up accidentally being your first time watching it.
Yeah, I think.
This was my first time watching it, too.
Or it's been so long that I've forgotten...
Well, this was my first time seeing it, and Goldeneye is a pretty important film for the James Bond franchise. Just in case you don't know, Goldeneye was also being released with some tie-in video games. And at this point in time, the Nintendo 64 was Nintendo's major console that came out. And when it came out, they had Goldeneye come out for the 64. And this version of the game, it was crowned as one of the most important advancements in technology for not just Nintendo, but for first-person shooters. This was one of the first major first-person shooters that ever worked on a video game console. So the game itself is an important piece of history where it's beloved still to this day because of how well it was programmed and designed, and that you could easily just jump into it. When people think of important historical making games in the 90s, they think Goldeneye on the N64 is on the top of that list.
Well, let me tell you something. Watching this film, I thought, Pierce Brosnan is in really great shape. He ran around and did all kinds of things, and it didn't look like he had a stuntman doing those things. You could tell it was him doing them.
I think that is stuntman in some parts.
In some parts, of course.
But he did a lot of the intensity of it.
I was shocked. And the cinematography was incredible.
Mm-hmm. My favorite part of the movie is later on, like halfway through, when they're doing the chase in, is it Russia? I think it was Russia. Yeah, it was Russia. And then when they think they're trying to get away, all of a sudden a tank smashes through the wall and it's James Bond on the tank. I'm thinking, this is the coolest thing I never expected to see out of this. I can only imagine what that was like in the theaters.
They had all kinds of different things that they did, from the plane when he
jumped off the motorcycle off a cliff to catch a plane that was flying without, like, unmanned, that was flying down and in the verge of crashing into the thing.
And he jumps into the plane.
He skydives from this motorcycle all the way down this cliff to get into the plane
and
pull the plane up before it crashes.
And then flies the plane up and gets away.
Yep.
At the very beginning of the movie.
That was
so exciting.
Incredible. Like, you see this, and many of it's so practical. It's like practical effects. And I cannot imagine what they did to make that happen.
It was so exciting. And it takes you, and it grips you. It really grips you.
They had a lot riding on this movie, so they had to do it right.
And it grips you. That's kind of stuff, that when Tom Cruise saw stuff like that, he said, I want to do movies like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, with all that said, I thought the movie was kind of boring, and it's the same old quintessential James Bond plot. For some reason, and I love spy thrillers. I love good spy thrillers. These James Bond movies usually don't get me interested that much. I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen several of them, and a lot of them just don't hit me the same way that other spy thrillers have throughout my life. And that's a personal problem. That's a me problem.
It takes sometimes too long. You're trying to find out what's going on here. What are they doing?
There's no music.
Where are they going?
It's not exciting. It's not interesting. Yeah, you're wondering, where are they going with this?
Where are they going?
It makes me appreciate films that I love that are spy thrillers, like Captain America: Winter Soldier, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., that remake in 2015. There's a lot of great spy thrillers out there. They're not talked about at all. And I'm shocked that it comes to that point, and I'm disappointed in it as well. So it's just one of those things where it's like, that's unfortunate. But overall, though, I thought the movie was all right. Outside of the really exciting moments, I thought, I'm having a hard time keeping interested in this, but you know what? It's fine. It's good. It
kept changing back and forth. Alan Cumming it shocked me how different he was in this, and so young, and different from what I remember of a character ever played.
Mm-hmm.
So it kept making surprises, but I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad we went through it.
I'm glad we watched it too, especially because it's hitting a 30-year anniversary. It gives it with fresh new eyes, and this is my first time watching it as well. I do think it does hold up. It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to be itching to see it again. I would probably give it 2.5 stars. I think it falls through the same old issue that other James Bond movies have with me. But this is I've rated a lot of movies. This one is so personal. It's more of like, if you think it's one of the best spy thrillers ever made, I don't blame you at all. This plot was just not for me. It just wasn't. I tried to enjoy it, I just didn't. But it was exciting when it wanted to be, absolutely.
It was just, it kept changing on you. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. So that's pretty much. What would you give it out of 5 stars, though?
Like you said, 2.5. 2.5 to 3. It just depends. I love the cinematography of it. I thought it had some great filming.
It's so funny.
I thought the chemistry between the girl, I forgot her name, and him were great.
Isabella.
Yeah.
And that's her actress's name.
Oh.
So, but in the movie, I think her name's Natalia.
Natalia.
Yeah.
I thought they were good together.
Mm-hmm.
So,
anyway, we're gonna move on. Let's move on to another film that came out on the same week, which that surprised me. It came out the same week. It's a big film celebrating a 30-year anniversary. It's Casino. It was directed by Martin Scorsese. It was released November 22nd, 1995. It was also written by Scorsese and Nicholas Pileggi. He was also the author of the book that inspired this movie in the first place. This is a very specific collaborative effort between two people, from the source material to an adaptation of a film like this. It was inspired by real mobsters and casino operators, and it talks about the rise and fall of the mafia in the casino business of Las Vegas that's told in the eyes of Martin Scorsese. It's inspired by a real man who takes over a large casino and is able to go through the business. Robert De Niro plays this lead. He also has an old friend named that's played by Joe Pesci, and they're friends, but then they get involved in some messes, and a lot of things happen in the movie without going into spoilers. But a lot of things happen. It's a mafia movie, so you kind of know what's going to happen, how things are going to go, but how it gets there is the real kicker for how typical mafia movies go. Do you remember when the movie came out?
Yes, I went and saw it when it came out. Not like the week or whatever, but the year it came out, I remember going to see it.
But you're not much of a Scorsese fan. Not really.
I wouldn't say that. I go by the film. I go by what the film is about, or what I think
Mm-hmm.
I was curious about this film because Sharon Stone was in it. And I wanted to see how this was going to be. And I heard that, I think from what I remember, they said that she was supposed to be fantastic in this film.
And she was fantastic in this film.
And she was fantastic in this film. And I was blown away by her performance the first time I saw it. I remember that. And I was shocked.
Was it a crowded theater?
I don't remember that. But I was so...
enamored.
I was just so focused and shocked by what I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been a real big fan of casinos. And then when the film was like teaching you about casinos.
It was teaching you about the business and like the draw, the entertainment that comes into it, what drew people to it, how they make money off of it, how owners
and how they're watching people and how they're taking advantage of people. And I thought, oh, it's such a dirty business.
And that's what I love about this film. And I'm not really the biggest fan of Scorsese. I mean, I've seen a couple of his films, and I'm just not really into like the whole big look. I love mafia movies. I love mafia stories. I have a soft spot for mafia stories. I've written a couple of my own personally. So the whole culture and the vibe and the feel is very much in tune with what I'm interested in. I'm just not a fan of how kind of Scorsese does it. It feels like it's kind of too fictionalized. It doesn't paint the mafia in the light that I prefer them to be viewed as. I'm not really a big fan of Scorsese movies. I don't like how they're filmed. I don't like how it's done. This movie shocked me with how good it was. This was, without a doubt, my favorite Martin Scorsese film. It made you feel like not only like getting a good glimpse into the world of casinos and the mafia, it made you feel as if you were in on it and you were part of it. And they were showing you all the ropes and they were showing you how it's done.
The narration was very well done.
It felt like you were part of a family. And I loved that. I absolutely loved it. I was so impressed.
There were some things in it that I didn't believe. I think some things were made up. That they were exaggerated.
Can you tell me a part specifically that you felt was exaggerated? I can't think of a part that I felt like it was really blown.
I don't think Sharon Stone would be attracted to Joe Pesci. I couldn't.
That's the worst part. I can't live in a world where Joe Pesci's attractive. No.
Just a man like him.
Yeah.
Just a man like him.
There
was nothing that I could see that she could ever. And plus, that was her husband's friend.
Yeah, I feel like
that would be against. It's like a brother.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
And I also think, and I said this to you at the end of the movie, I do not feel like Joe Pesci would have allowed himself to get involved with her because he respects his friend too much.
But she wouldn't do it either.
No.
It's like a brother.
I could see her maybe doing it, but I know he would say no.
Unless she was so drunk They took advantage of it.
Yes, and that was not what happened. That's not what happened in the film, and it's not, simply not.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yes, because Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro's characters, they were so bonded as brothers with each other that they would never do that to each other. Now, I will also say that I love Robert De Niro as an actor, as his performances. I don't care for him too much as a person, but like I don't know him as a person. I can't say. I've seen several of his movies. I've seen him when he's not nice. I've seen him when he's nice. I think he has a hard time being nice in films. But I liked him in The Intern with Anne Hathaway. I thought that was a great role for him, and it was an important role for him too, as a person, as an actor. And I've been okay with other roles that he's played in. But this one also I really think stands out because of how subtle he is and how he draws you in without having to like do something horrendous to you, if you catch my drift. He's a villain, but he's a villain that you can understand. And even his motivation and even the things that he does, I understand why he does these things. And I really appreciate that about him and how he takes this role so well. He's so
calculating.
Yes. And you understand what he's going through. You relate to him, which is crazy to relate to the owner of a casino and what happens in his life. Because you agree with him when things go wrong and you can tell he's doing what he can with what he's got. And it's really well done. And that's not even just...
I think he was miscast, though.
Who do you think could have cast... he could have been the character instead? I asked that not like, what do you think? Like, well, as in, well, who do you think
he's too Italian, okay? And the guy was supposed to be a Jewish guy.
Yes, his name was like...
Rothstein.
Rothstein, and he looks nothing like a Jewish man.
Okay, it should have been someone that... nothing against... I've seen some wonderful Jewish people, okay? It's not that.
Robert De Niro is full-blood Italian. He looks like a full-blooded Italian man.
Okay.
I would never imagine he was Jewish.
Okay. It should have been someone that had just a little bit of a Jewish way about him. Something that had something... Because at the end of the movie, to halfway through they started referring him as a Jewish man, okay? Mm-hmm. It didn't come out until towards halfway through the movie.
Yes.
So I'd have to think about it that could play someone more Jewish.
Obviously with no stereotypes or anything, no. But it just didn't really fit right with his character.
I can't explain it. It should have been someone that had, who would have been, if they were around then? Adam Driver.
I could see that.
Adam Driver.
So if
Adam Driver was around, someone like that.
So here's I'm trying to get a good quick picture of what the original guy looked like. Yeah, here's the original man who played him, who the original man who was inspired by him in the first place. Obviously, it's a podcast, you can't see it, but like we're talking about now, we're seeing it. He looks nothing like Robert De Niro. Absolutely nothing like Robert De Niro.
But it had to be someone that I can't explain it. That I was
distracted
because Robert De Niro is so Italian. Mm-hmm. I've seen him in so many Italian roles.
And then they call him for some pretty Jewish, negative anti-Semite things, and like that doesn't really fit. But whatever.
But it was later in the film, halfway through the film. Yeah. So then it was messing with me.
But let's really quickly talk about Sharon Stone.
Okay, Sharon Stone was unbelievable.
She was fantastic. I could not believe. And I haven't seen that much of her in things. Like, I just haven't. I haven't had that opportunity. But, man, she knocked it out of the park.
This was before her illness that transpired. But it really hasn't affected her that much. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a shame that she has not had the roles that she should deserve.
So few people could have pulled off what she pulled off. I admire her so much in this movie. She really did such a fantastic job.
She really deserved the Academy Award.
Oh, absolutely. She got snubbed in the Academy Award.
Well, Susan Sarandon got it for Dead Men Walking.
Yeah, and I never saw it. I never saw that film, so I couldn't say.
I think she deserved it. I think Sharon Stone deserved this. After
what she went through and everything, your beginning, middle, and end,
oh my God,
I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words how good she is in this. And it's such a shame that she lost the Academy Award, but she was praised for it.
But she got a Golden Globe. She got a Golden Globe.
So she absolutely deserved the praise she got for the film itself. It was really a triumph. She stood out when it comes to it. And Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro, I love Joe Pesci in this. And I usually I'm okay with Joe Pesci, it's whatever. I loved him in this. I thought he was great. He really summed up the I will die for you, I will kill for you, best friend. And I really love that about him in this movie. Even though he was a cruel, sadistic, homicidal maniac, he loved him in it at the same time.
I didn't love him.
I loved him in it. I thought it was great.
I didn't love him.
Now, near the end...
But you're not supposed to love him.
No. Near the end... I mean,
he was a great actor in it. He was a great actor.
But near the end, you don't love him anymore because, what he's going through. But there are the parts that are like, yep, that's exactly what I would do in that scenario, in that situation. When he's talking about, near the end of the movie where his wife's that woman's calling him out, and he's like, what, are you crazy? I can't do that. What's wrong with you? I love that because I'm like, that's exactly what he would do. That's exactly what I would do if I was in that scenario.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought it was great. I thought he did a great job doing it. It's a very realistically told film. And it's very realistically told. It's sad.
And how they made the old 70s of the Las Vegas look to the 80s and the,
you thought they really captured it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. This is my favorite Scorsese film. I would say there's some gripes about it, that there were some little plot issues every now and then, and it ended very abruptly. It kind of just bam, it's over. Wait, okay, cool, whatever. I really wish it would have had just another minute for something. You know what I'm talking about, why. But overall, though, I give it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really well done.
I give it a 3.5.
Well, it did pretty well. It did as well as it could have been. It had a $50 million budget. It is between 40 and 50. It's between 40 and 50. It's debatable, but it did 160 million in the box office. It's not bad for a Martin Scorsese film, especially one that was as big as it was with all these people, and obviously got a lot of praise, and people still talk about it too. But it did okay. Did all right. The last movie that we're going to talk about is Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This was released November 17th, 2000. It's celebrating a 25-year anniversary. And it was directed by Ron Howard, which we know Ron Howard very well. It was written by Jeffrey Price and Peter Seaman, who also co-wrote Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That was a pivotal animated and live-action film back in the day. And this is now being told again. It's the live-action adaptation of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, with the wickedly vile Grinch attempting to steal Christmas from every Who down in Whoville in a cruel act of revenge. This is a very important film, not only in Dr. Seuss's lineup, but also in Jim Carrey's lineup, too. It's one of his most, I would say it's one of his most successful films. It's a Christmas classic. It's played all the time. And it's a live-action adaptation of it. Jim Carrey's in it. Taylor Momsen, who played Cindy Lou Who. Jeffrey Tambor, who played the mayor of Whoville. Christine Baranski, who played Martha May, which was the love interest of the film. And Molly Shannon has an appearance in it, too.
There's several.
There's several other big, other decent-sized names involved in it as well. I grew up watching this movie. I remember when it was showing in the trailers when it came out. I remember when we got the DVD of it way back when, which we got lost, but I remember when we got it for Christmas. I remember watching and looking at it and feeling, I still could feel the cover and look behind and I was reading the background of it, the back of the DVD case too. I remember it pretty well.
Well, you're a big Jim Carrey fan,
yep.
And How the Grinch Stole Christmas was a huge thing for our family. We watched it every year for Christmas.
And you took me to see this movie when it came out.
Well, we all met as a family to see it in Gainesville. Mm-hmm. Davey was there,
And you were telling me that they really kind of advertised this movie as a kid's movie.
They pushed it as a kid's movie, but it's really dark. It was a really dark film that I see, as I gotten, I shouldn't say older, but...
But as you grow up?
Yeah, as I grow up, as I grow older, it's really dark. I can't believe that. I think they should have done things a little differently. But we went as a family, friends went and met, and it was a big ordeal to go see this movie. to see a live action of The Grinch Stole Christmas.
I do remember some brief glimpses of my vision of being in the theater when this movie was happening. I could smell the popcorn. I could see the red, the blue, the green, not merchandise, but like the cups, the popcorn buckets, like just the little things in the theater and around the theater that were focused. I remember seeing the poster for The Grinch. I remember that as well. So I'm getting glimpses of the movie in the theater when we saw it.
I think we went and saw it at...
Royal Park, I think. That's how I see it. It's Royal Park.
Yeah. It wasn't at the Butler one. It was at the Royal Park.
Yep, and it was the middle of the day. It was like, I thought it was like 2 o'clock, something like that, 2 or 3 o'clock.
No, we went at night.
We went at night?
We went at night.
Okay. Was it cold? I can't remember if it was cold.
I don't remember how. Yeah. But I remember it was like an early evening, you know, like an early evening, like a 6 o'clock, a 7 o'clock.
And they were pushing like green candy and blue and like they had like blue and red candy. I just remember those little bits and pieces of it. I remember more watching the movie in the past when I was on TV because obviously I was 6 years old when this movie came out. I don't remember really watching the movie that much, but full the way through, I watched it over the years on TV and on DVD as well. So I have a history with this film. It's like probably my 4th or 5th time watching it, but really taking a detailed, critical look at it.
You probably watched it more than that, Sword.
Probably. But
we used to watch it every year.
But
Grandma loved it.
But I'm taking more of a critical look at it now and really just peering into it. So.
But we need to talk about Jim Carrey. His makeup, it would take like 11 hours just to do the makeup. And Ron Howard actually put the makeup on too, to see what an ordeal it was. Mm-hmm. So he really sacrificed himself to see what it would take to do this role.
And since this year's the 25th anniversary, they came out with a special 25th anniversary steelbook collector's edition that includes a look back on 25 years. And they have Taylor Momsen, who comes back 25 years later as a grown adult. And they have Ron Howard. They have a producer in the movie. They have a makeup artist, but they don't have Jim Carrey. And this movie still traumatized him. The one where he doesn't even want to talk about it, which is sad. But we don't know what he went through with that movie. I'm not going to judge him if he doesn't want to go for it. I do wish that he talks about it more in this year because it is a pretty pivotal movie for his career and for his
recently
life.
During the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, him and little Cindy Lou were there together during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
and that was very nice, especially because he called her his old friend, and they met again, saw each other, and it was a really big important moment for both of them.
He introduced Soundgarden, and she sang, I think.
She sang one of Soundgarden's songs, yeah.
Well, with a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't look anything like Cindy Lou.
Nope, she's grown up. She's got great music, but man, she really grew up wild. She grew up wild. She's no longer the Cindy Lou Who that we know.
Well, I don't think she was the Cindy Lou then. That was all acting. She was.
Yeah. But overall, though, how do you feel about the movie? Watching it, after 25 years of seeing it back in theaters.
I think that Jim Carrey was incredible. I don't think the film would be where it was without Jim Carrey. I think he was incredible. But I wasn't a big fan of what they did in some of the film. As you know, we discussed it at length yesterday. We had some words about the film. I wish they had done certain things differently. But overall, it's a film that will go down in history. But I love what Jim Carrey did with the role. And I love the little dog in it. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I also believe that there are some decisions that I disagree with passionately about the production of the film, how it looks and how it's portrayed. I think the makeup, sometimes for some characters it looks incredible, other times it looks awful. That's not speaking about Jim Carrey. That's not speaking about Jim Carrey's The Grinch at all. I just think that there's a lot of production things that should not have been done and that should have been added or made better in the first place. I've talked about the lighting specifically. I think the lighting overall the film is terrible because most of the time it looks like it takes place at night, but it doesn't take place at night. It takes place during the day. But the night scenes look great. There's a night scene that takes place in Hulu I thought looks great. I thought the cave and the whole thing with the mountain looked incredible. Back then, it still do now. It looks incredible. I like near the end of the movie where they finally show natural light. They show a sunrise, and I thought that was beautiful. It was absolutely pitch perfect. And I really liked that they did a good job, especially near the end. They were recapturing the feeling of the original short. You could tell Ron Howard loves this movie, loves the short, loves what Dr. Seuss was trying to tell. He cares about the film. He doesn't care about his own vision of it. He wanted to make a film that was passionate, with a little bit of his own twist to be able to make an hour and a half worth of story into a 20-minute short. So he did everything he could to make that work, and I really applaud him for it. There are parts that I really like about it that expand upon the symbolism, of materialism, commercialism, how it's ruining what Christmas is really about, which is about, togetherness and, each other. And the gifts don't matter. They're just simply a symbol of how much you care about somebody. And I like that he introduces that aspect with the Grinch as well. I mean, I love the scene halfway through the movie where the Grinch is calling all these Who's out saying, all these gifts that you care about, they all end up in your garbage. In my house. And I thought that was brilliant. It's not only funny, it's also true.
Yeah.
I thought that was exceptionally well done. This is a really well-written movie. For what they're doing, absolutely. I mean, I give them a lot of credit for doing what they can to make a live-action movie good. I will say, though, if Jim Carrey isn't in this, it would be a disaster.
Yes.
This would be an absolute travesty on Dr. Seuss and his works. Jim Carrey makes this movie great. Every single thing that was good about this movie is because of Jim Carrey. When it comes to, I'm talking about the directing and writing, but I'm talking about in general, without Jim Carrey, this movie would have never worked.
And I think that he also ad-libbed so many things.
Yes.
Just like Robin Williams, when he played Aladdin, the genie. He ad-libbed so many things. Mm-hmm. It was so hilarious, and things that I didn't realize that you pointed out. I was like, oh my gosh, he even did Ron Howard.
Yeah, he made fun of Ron Howard by imitating his directing when he was trying to direct Max into becoming a reindeer for that scene. It never occurred to me that he was doing that until this time, where I saw him put on this WSS Whoville.
And we've watched this over and over and over.
Thinking, oh my God, he's playing Ron Howard.
He's doing Ron Howard. He's doing an impression of Ron Howard.
It's great. It's so funny. There's so many things about that he does that's so funny to me. You heard me. I'm laughing my butt off the whole half of the movie. First half.
My mom loved this movie because of Jim Carrey. Yeah. And she's very picky. And she didn't care about that other Whoville crap. Mm-hmm. She loved it because of Jim Carrey.
Of course, he's not acting like the original Grinch, but he's so entertaining that you love it. It's because he's so entertaining. He's so good at playing this. You are convinced that he's not playing the Grinch, but he's playing the Grinch. It's so well done. And he makes fun of people. He makes fun of personalities. It's just I'm laughing at them. I'm thinking about the things that he does in the movie. It's just brilliant.
My face hurt. My face was hurting from laughing, and my mom used to almost. Oh my gosh, she laughed and laughed and laughed.
I did not realize how many times he does that crooked smile whenever he does that. I'm thinking that's such a pivotal point of the Grinch because he does crooked smile. The physical crooked smile is such a small but important detail about the Grinch and about his personality. I mean, it really shows how brilliant of an actor Jim Carrey is. It really, I could talk on and on about Jim Carrey and how great he is, and he really makes this movie. It stands up today because of Jim Carrey, and I'm so glad that he got to do this and is still lauded and praised for the role, for his makeup to application, and for him being able to make the movie as funny and entertaining as it is. I am vehemently against any kind of adaptation of Dr. Seuss's works because of how much they've been butchered to death and just completely... I'm going to say some not nice words. I'm not going to. Just Dr. Seuss's world, his livelihood has been unfortunately depressed by all these terrible, awful, no good adaptations of his original works. This movie is so much better than it should be, really, in the first place.
There were certain requirements for this movie.
Yes, and that's what surprised me. So after Dr. Seuss died, his widow was being offered, and she was entertaining offers for How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And at one point, she said, here's what I want. I want this, 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 and this, that money, tie-ins, like percentage of profits. But she also specifically stated, I want only certain actors with certain statures to play the Grinch. And one of the actors was Jim Carrey. So one of the clauses was, I want somebody like Jim Carrey to play the Grinch. And they were able to get him.
Yeah. So it was a blessing.
Absolutely. So I do appreciate this movie. It's very hard for me to put it into a rating system. But if I had to, I will say I'll give it a 3.5.
I'd give it a 10 for Jim Carrey.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give it a 10 for Jim Carrey. And that's all I'm going to say.
Cool. So
because it's called The Grinch That Stole Christmas. Jim Carrey, to me,
he stole this movie.
He stole this movie.
How Jim Carrey stole the Grinch. It stole Christmas. Yeah. He kept you laughing from beginning to end. Who wants the gizzard? I do. No, that's mine. Great. So I had a great time watching these movies. Holy crap! I didn't expect to watch so many Christmas movies, but I still don't like that they put on Christmas movies right before Thanksgiving. But whatever, I get it. They're trying to prepare for the holidays,
and we are too. And so are you.
Yeah, we're being forced to prepare for the Christmas holiday.
No,
but no, this was a great week for film, and it's only going to get bigger. We got the holidays coming up.
Happy holidays!
Thank you all so much. Happy Thanksgiving. If we don't have a chance to hear from you from Thanksgiving, and we look forward to talking about more movies next week. Be safe out there.